Hi again, everyone. Mark Rogers TV on college football as we rank the best players in the nation. We gave you our quarterbacks 1 through 10. We do the same with the running backs here. Let us know where we missed it. Who belongs on this list and who do we need to give the boot? Here's our top 10. Let's start from the bottom with a decision that we need to make. We've got 18 running backs on the big board. We had to, of course, narrow it down to 10. We did it right out of the gate at Oregon with Byron Marshall and also Thomas Tyner. Who do you take? Tyner, as a freshman, ran for 700 yards, 6.2 per carry, and 9 touchdowns. Byron Marshall, a bit better at 1,000 yards, 6.2 per carry, and 14 rushing touchdowns. We go with Tyner, though. Just a freshman, remember. So he's got the bigger ceiling. He's the big recruit. He's got the breakaway speed. Marshall's got very good speed. He's basically a cut-and-go guy, looks for his crease, and then he's a one-cut-and-go guy. Tyner's got more moves. He didn't produce the way Marshall did against the big opponents. Marshall got the football when Oregon needed him in 2013. Tyner ran against the non-conference opponents and then finally got the big game in the Civil War against Oregon State, 22 carries for $140. 14 carries was his most throughout the season up until that finale. But again, we go with Tyner, a smidge over Marshall in our 10 spot from Oregon. At number 9, we go to Florida State and Carlos Williams, a guy who played behind 2 future NFL running backs in Devonta Freeman and James Wilder. But we like Carlos Williams' ability. Big, strong guy, runs fast, has it all. He's got the complete package at running back for Florida State, and he will be the main guy here in 2014. Unlike 2013, when he ran it just 5 times in the BCS championship game for 25 yards against Auburn. In fact, he only had 3 games with 10 or more rushing attempts. Carlos Williams, despite that inactivity, still ran for 730 yards, 8 yards a carry, and 11 touchdowns. Again, Wilder and Freeman out of the way, although Florida State recruits well and got one of the top running backs coming into college football this season. Carlos Williams is going to be the guy. Expect him to chalk up 13, 14, 1,500 yards. He's our 9th best running back in the country out of Tallahassee. At number 8, we've got a situation where we go with Jeremy Langford out of Michigan State. Langford was nowhere close to this list this time last year. Michigan State lost Le'Veon Bell. They had a bevy of running backs. Nobody really distinguished themselves in camp. They looked like they had a bunch of marginal running backs, a bunch of plotters. Well, Jeremy Langford wasn't special, but he was a special guy for that system. He was the workhorse that Mark D'Antonio was looking for. He racked it up for 1,400 yards, 4.9 per carry. That speaks to the lack of speed, the lack of moves, the lack of home run ability, but he grinds it out. Again, 4.9 per carry, 18 touchdowns for Jeremy Langford in a run-happy offense that got some balance late in the season from Connor Cook. Didn't really run it a whole lot in non-conference play. Had some decent games, but really distinguished himself in Big Ten play. Jeremy Langford, 8 straight 100-yard games going into the Rose Bowl where he ran it 83 yards against Stanford. Jeremy Langford with 28 receptions for a touchdown, also chipped in the passing game as well for Michigan State. We go with Langford at number 8. All right, let's go to the SEC. And we've got another dilemma, much like the Thomas Tyner and Byron Marshall situation at Oregon. We've got 2 awesome backs at Arkansas, and they have to run the football with the defense knowing that Arkansas is going to run the football because Brett Bielema loves the running game, loves the power running game. And of course, on top of that, Arkansas very deficient in the passing game. So it's between Johnathan Williams and Alex Collins. Well, Williams ran for 900 yards as a sophomore, 6 yards per carry and 4 touchdowns. Collins, 1,000 yards as a freshman, 5.4 per carry and 4 touchdowns. We give it to Alex Collins. He has got the power to be a big back, a guy that you can give the ball to again and again and again in the SEC. Plus, he's got a burst, not a home run burst, not going to outrun defensive backs to the end zone, but he's got a burst to the second level. He will power it and drive it through a crease and make his own crease at times when he needs to. Alex Collins, a bit better than Johnathan Williams overall as Arkansas goes with that 1-2 punch in Fayetteville. with that lack of a passing game. So we go with Alex Collins out of Arkansas at number 7. All right, let's stay in the SEC. Let's go to South Carolina with junior to be in 2014, Mike Davis. 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 yards, 5.8 per carry, and 11 touchdowns. On the downside for Davis, there were a couple games where he really got bottled up. 15 carries, 22 yards against Clemson. 19 carries, 51 yards against Mizzou. But the impressive thing for Davis in that comeback win for South Carolina at Columbia, Missouri, when he got bottled up, couldn't run on the ground, he made himself available as a pass receiver. 10 catches for 100 yards. Mike Davis caught 34 passes for South Carolina in 2013. Ran it for 149 against Georgia, 128 against Mississippi State. We love Mike Davis as a guy who's got hands out of the backfield. We saw 34 receptions. He runs like a truck. He's got decent speed. He fumbles at times. He's got to take care of the football going into his junior season in Columbia. Mike Davis, South Carolina at number 6. All right, now we get to the big board. Got to break this thing out. We failed to do that with the quarterbacks. We will do it with the running backs. Let's start with Wisconsin's Melvin Gordon at number 5. Melvin Gordon, of course, had to share the carries with James White at Wisconsin last season. Melvin Gordon with 1,600 yards, 7.8 per carry, 7.8 yards per carry, 12 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon, of course, has the awesome speed. He doesn't have hands, though. If this guy could develop receptions out of the backfield and develop his hands and catch the football, he only caught one pass, and that's because he can't catch the football. That's not because they didn't want to throw it to him. Melvin Gordon's got rock-hard hands. He's got to catch the football. He could be an amazing dual threat out of the backfield for Wisconsin. Again, 1,600 yards, 7.8 per carry, and 12 touchdowns. And, of course, he's explosive. He's the speed guy, but he's got more power than you think. Hits the crease and can take it all the way. Melvin Gordon at number 5. At number 4, we've got a guy in TJ Yeldon as I try to position the big board. TJ Yeldon out of Alabama at number 4. Yeldon was actually our number 1 back last season, coming off 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns as a freshman for Bama and losing Eddie Lacy. But, of course, they bring in Derrick Henry and Kenyan Drake to give him some competition. And TJ Yeldon had a nice season, 1,200 yards, 6.5 per carry, and 14 touchdowns. He really ran it against the big opponents. When Bama needed rushing yards against the better teams, they gave it typically to TJ Yeldon until they got to the Sugar Bowl game against Oklahoma, and that was the Derrick Henry show as Bama got blasted by the Sooners. TJ Yeldon also fumbled at times in inopportune situations for Alabama. So there's some question in Tuscaloosa about TJ Yeldon versus the other 2 backs. There's so much talent for the Tide that you can't rest on your laurels and 3,000 yards in your first 2 seasons if you're TJ Yeldon. He's quick in space. He knows how to find the seam. He's intelligent. He's got the vision. But again, the fumble issues, and he doesn't really give you an exceptional power back or speed back. He's kind of the combination. But again, he's a veteran now going into his junior season who's gotten the job done for a national championship team at Alabama as a freshman. At number 3, we love the playmaking ability and the potential of Duke Johnson. Here's a guy who's not played a full season at Miami yet. As a freshman, he burst onto the scene about 4 to 5 games into the season, and then last season he was primed to be an All-American, but broke his ankle, missed 5 games, and he's even doubtful for this spring. So we're really projecting Duke Johnson to get healthy this summer and be a big player for Miami going into his junior season. He caught 27 passes in 2012, so he's got the hands and can do it out of the backfield as well. Ran for 920 yards, 6.3 per carry, and 6 touchdowns. We like the home run threat of Duke Johnson. We've got him vaulted all the way to number 3, Duke Johnson out of Miami. At number 2, we're going with Amir Abdullah out of Nebraska. Abdullah was amazing for a team that lost Taylor Martinez about 5 games in last season. It was all on Abdullah because Tommy Armstrong, not exceptional. Ron Kellogg, not exceptional at quarterback. It was all Abdullah. Is this guy extra big and powerful? No. Does he have elite speed? No, but he's shifty, he's smart, he's very tough. You can give him the ball time and time again, and he is the only back last season that ran the ball against Michigan State. 22 carries for 123 yards out of Abdullah. For the season, Abdullah ran for 1,700 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns. We love Amir Abdullah. He caught 26 passes as well. And then at number 1, forget the stats because, of course, he was banged up most of last season, but he is a beast. Talk to NFL scouts. Look at the scouting reports. There's nobody who matches up with Todd Gurley out of Georgia. Todd Gurley, as a freshman, ran for 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns and took it to the nation's number 1 rush defense, Alabama, in the SEC championship game. Of course, last year, got off to the great start against Clemson, ran for the big touchdown as the Bulldogs almost upset the Tigers on the road. Then he got hurt against LSU. It was having a great game against the Tigers, 8 carries for 73 yards, missed 3.5 games, but still, despite hobbling on an ankle that was like 60-70%, Gurley still ran for just under 1,000 yards with the ankle and with the minus 3.5 games, 6 yards per carry and 10 touchdowns. Maybe more impressively than that, Todd Gurley, despite those limitations and despite missing 3.5 games, caught 37 passes and 6 touchdowns for Georgia. We expect Todd Gurley to break through with an enormous year, get healthy, get ready, and break out for the Bulldogs in 2014. Okay, that's our list. We had 18 guys. We narrowed it down to 10, and there you go. Our top 10 running backs in college football coming into 2014. Now we need to hear from you. Would love to hear your opinion on our list, where we missed it, and who's out there that could possibly break our top 10. Right here on Mark Rogers TV.